when we have material like glass and other materials which cannot be easily what you call it as segregated. So at that point we are going to be using either the vibrating drum or the rotating drum based upon the type of fish. See, any method you use, whether it may be in the processing, whether it may be in the transportation, whether it may be disposal, all these methods predominantly depends upon what different methods or what are the techniques you are going to be using for the solid waste management based upon only the type of the waste. Similarly, if you have the waste which is going to be taken off or which is going to be brought off by the glasses or the other related materials or the materials which are shredded. Shredded means cut on or chopped into pieces. Those materials are going to be taken up in the vibrating material. See, why we use the vibrating material means once we have the waste, it becomes difficult, right? At some point, like these wastes are going to be mixed up. If you have a waste with multiple components, so the one component is attached to the other, so that it becomes very difficult to segregate those components. So what they do, when we use some amount of vibration or some amount of shocks are being generated, so automatically these are going to be getting generated. Basically, when you have a mixed type where you have huge waste which is consisting of different components, we are going to be using the vibrating screens. Again, the only difference is that this is going to be this what you call it as the screens are going to be giving some amount of vibrations. In the same way, the drums which you have, the vibrators which you have in the rolling of roads, you have normal vibrators and you have the normal rollers, you have the rollers with the vibrators. The only difference is what, the roller with the vibrators generate some vibration. The same way, in this method also, we are going to be using, or we are going to be implementing, or we are going to be giving some vibrations to the waste so that the segregation can be done. Also, what happens when we are going to be using the vibration, the process is going to be faster, because see, when you're going to be using the vibration, the amount of separation of the material, the intensity with which the material is going to be separating is going to be getting increased. Hence, what happens automatically, the process is going to be faster when you have this what you call it as vibrating rotatory drums or vibrating methods which are going to be using. Then apart from this, see, till now whatever we have seen, all those are our mechanical methods. Apart from mechanical methods, we do have different process, right? Let us say a country has just gone with analyzing or with processing some management techniques or some management solid waste management process. It has gone. So what they do, they initially don't have the fund and economy to procure the machineries to operate the mechanism completely with the machine. So they are going to be going with manual method also. So in the manual method, see, doesn't think that it is going to be like it has a waste, it is going to be something so unhygienic how they are going to be using. No, trust me, this is such a big industry nowadays. People are uh, investing, and also they're going to be improvising new techniques to improvise their method, because it is such a huge what you call it as sector for generation of revenue and all, right? So in this, even the manual methods are there. In the manual method, you are going to be doing a hand sorting and previewing method. See, hand sorting and previewing method means what? What happens when we do this method? See, we do have, of course, we can say that this is a time-consuming method, but it gives us, if you don't have a fully computerized method, it gives an opportunity to preview the waste so that efficient segregation can be done. Remember, it is a slow process, but since screening, previewing is done, so screening becomes more efficient. So previewing of the waste stream and manual removal of large size of material is necessary. It is a need. Prior, if you take for any other technique or any other size reduction technique, or see, you have shredders and all. You have seen the machines in which the waste is going to be cut into the pieces and is going to be chopped into different sizes. Either it may be plastic waste or a paper waste, but it requires a sorting method. The sorting can be done. Let us say you have a shredder machine. Sorry, let us say you have a shredder machine in the management system, but what does this shredder machine does? The It is going to be putting with the hopper, right? In the hopper you put the waste, right? You are going to be putting the waste, the mixed waste, then it is going to be getting and chopping them into different sizes, and it is going to be throwing in that in the bottom. That is what a shredder is going to be doing. So what happens if this mix is not of uh, one or two composite? Let us say you have taken the waste. Let us say the waste consists of plastic and it consists of paper. But if it consists of metal, this shredder might not be having a property to slice or to chop the metal, or it might be having some organic waste or some biological waste which might be present. So it becomes difficult, or the efficiency of this shredder is going to be getting ready. So shredder is nothing but again a size reduction or separation techniques which we are going to be using. So in that case, before we take any waste to the shredder, what we are going to be doing? We are going to be going for our sorting method, either by manual sorting. If you don't have any mechanical means, then the manual sorting is going to be done prior to the separation method for size reduction, which you are going to be using. As I told you, this is done to prevent the damage and stoppage of equipment such as shredder, and also the screening. In the screening, if you have the material which cannot be screened, right, which cannot be screened in a screening machine, then if you simply take that in that machine, the process, the working and the operation becomes very much slow, and it is going to be hampering the operation. So due to such as what you have, rugs, pillows, mattresses, all the cloth material which is going to be present from the society, even the large metal, plastic objects, wood material, and other construction materials like paints, can, etc., and any demolished material product, even those cannot be taken into the shredder, or they cannot be taken into the screening. So these materials are to be removed manually. That is what we are going to be doing with the hand sorting and previewing techniques or previewing methods which we are going to be using. Then you have inertial separation. Inertial separation relies, of course, based upon the weight of the material. This method is going to be used. So it relies on ballistic and gravity separation principle to separate the shredded solid, the solid with the waste, which is going to be having light material, to that of what we are going to be doing with the heavy material. Just you are going to be what we call it as the way you are going to be sieving your harvest product, harvesting. The same methods is what we are going to be using over here. So how it is going to be done? Simple. The shredded material, once it is going to be chopped, again the further shredding. See, remember, you need to remember two things. When we are talking about the hand shredding, hand separation and sorting, it is going to be done prior to the shredding method. Whereas when you have the inertial separation, this separation is done once the shredding is going to be done. Shredding process or shredding method or shredding techniques has been put and applied on the waste. After that, we are going to be putting this one. So it has how it is done. The shredded materials, once the material is chopped, those waste, solid waste material is going to be, excuse me. Okay, this has the arrangement, right? Where in which you have a pulley. A pulley is attached with a conveyor belt, right? Over which your waste is going to be rolled off, right? Your waste is going to be rolled. Then this waste is going to be thrown again on one more conveyor belt. This conveyor belt doesn't provide any screening or all. You have a simply a conveyor belt. It is going to be laid in an inclined position, or some inclination it is going to be laid, so that whatever the material which is going to be fall, it can be removed off. So how it works, let us see the working. So what happens? The shredded materials, let us say it has coarser, it has going to be fine. See, when you're chopping or when you're crushing some material, the materials of different dimensions are going to be crushed off, right? Since you're not screening, all these materials, while some material which is going to be crushed, they might be of lighter in weight. So what happens once this waste is led or is going to be made to fall from this inclined conveyor belt on the another inclined conveyor belt, because of the gravity, the material which is going to be higher in weight is going to be falling near to the pulley or just below the top conveyor belt. Then this conveyor belt is going to be rotating, right, in upward to downward direction. So what happens when you are going to be doing this one? The heavier material is going to be falling at this point, and the lighter material is going to be falling at the farther point. So what happens when you are going to be rolling? All the heavier material is going to be rolled in the downward direction, whereas the lighter material is going to be brought forward and thrown to other chamber, or is going to be dropped to other chamber. See, you don't provide any, see, pulley, half pulley will not be rotating only. Our only purpose is that to make sure that the live material is going to be separated from the heavy material. That's what we are going to be doing. Then the other method is that you are going to be generating the suction or some what you call it as air stream, or a stream of air is going to be generated with the rotor, right? When the waste is going to be dumped in this rotor, because of the intensity of the wind, the lighter weight is going to be thrown to the highest point. As depending upon the weight of the material, the segregation of the particles are going to be taken up. This is how we are going to be separating. Once we are going to be done, the shredder material, the shredder solid waste is going to be done. This is what we call it as inertial separation. And the hand separation, the manual picking of the material is going to be done when you are going to be getting this materials, right? Separate materials are going to be separated before you are going to be taking that to the shredding or other management techniques, right? Okay. Of course, we have shredder by what you call it as, sorry, we have